Remember when you could get a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts for $8 and some change? Now you go in to pick up a dozen donuts and it costs you $20. $20. Krispy Kreme used to be the ultimate indulgence. People used to drive miles just to see that glowing red "Hot Now" sign. But fast forward to today and that story looks a lot different. Instead of being the affordable treat everyone loved, Krispy Kreme has now become overpriced, inconsistent, and strangely hard to find. Their partnership with McDonald's, Target, and Walmart promised better access. But what customers actually got were stale donuts sold at premium prices. Add in constant shortages, a string of bad business decisions, and competition that's beating them at their own game. And you start to see why Krispy Kreme isn't the brand it used to be. So what happened? How did America's donut empire go from legendary to overvalue and under-delivering? Let's break it down. Krispy Kreme started in 1937 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, with a secret yeast-raised donut recipe. Fresh, hot donuts quickly drew crowds, and the brand became known for its iconic "Hot Now" sign. By the 1990s, Krispy Kreme had exploded nationwide. Lines wrapped around the store as people lined up not even just for donuts, but just for the Krispy Kreme experience. And in 2000, the company went public, and the stock soared. It seemed unstoppable, but rapid growth comes with a risk, and the cracks were starting to show. One of the biggest reasons why Krispy Kreme is falling out of favor is simple: the prices. Donuts used to be an affordable indulgence, something you could grab for a couple bucks on the way to work or surprise your family with on a Saturday morning. A dozen glazed donuts once cost around $8. Today, in many locations, that same dozen cost over $18. And that's not just inflation. That's a complete shift in how Krispy Kreme positions itself. They've turned what used to be an everyday treat into a so-called premium product. But customers aren't buying it. People go to Krispy Kreme for cheap, hot donuts, not luxury branding. The result? Sticker shock. Social media is filled with complaints from longtime customers saying they won't pay those prices anymore. And when you line Krispy Kreme up against competitors, it looks even worse. Dunkin' sells a dozen donuts for less. Grocery store bakeries can churn out donuts for half the price. And boutique donut shops are able to charge high prices because their products actually feel unique and handmade. Krispy Kreme isn't cheap enough to be the budget option, and it's not special enough to justify that premium pricing. It's stuck in the middle, and that's a dangerous place to be. By the early 2000s, Krispy Kreme seemed unstoppable though. Stores were opening everywhere, the stock was skyrocketing, and the brand had a near cult following. But behind the sweet glow of the "Hot Now" sign, problems were building. The first issue was overexpansion. Krispy Kreme was opening new stores at an incredible pace, sometimes several in a single city. While it looked impressive on paper, in reality, these new locations started competing with each other. Sales in existing stores began to drop, and the excitement that had once fueled long lines started to fade. The brand was growing too fast, too aggressively, and without enough oversight. And at the same time, the company's financials were under scrutiny. Executives were accused of inflating sales figures to make the growth look more impressive than it actually was. In 2004, the SEC launched an investigation into Krispy Kreme's accounting practices. The SEC alleged that the company had manipulated earnings, giving investors a false sense of success. When the news hit, investor confidence collapsed. The stock collapsed. Stores that had seemed like guaranteed moneymakers were suddenly underperforming or closing altogether. The brand that once drew thousands of customers a day was now a cautionary tale of how hype and expansion without control can destroy even the most beloved companies. On top of that, the public perception of Krispy Kreme suffered. People started to question whether the donuts were even worth the hype. And the excitement that once surrounded the brand turned into skepticism. Loyal customers began to drift away, looking for competitors who offered more consistency and value. And by the mid-2000s, Krispy Kreme wasn't just struggling financially. It had lost its cultural relevance. What had once become a symbol of indulgence and fun became a warning sign for corporate mismanagement, overambition, and the dangers of putting growth over quality. And in 2016, Krispy Kreme was bought by JAB Holding Company, a massive private equity firm. On paper, it looked like a rescue, a way to stabilize the brand and get it back on track. But make no mistake, this was less about saving Krispy Kreme and more about extracting as much profit as possible. Private equity doesn't care about the customer experience or the legacy of the brand. Their playbook is simple: cut cost, push prices, expand aggressively, and sell off value whenever they can. And that's exactly what happened here. Krispy Kreme shifted away from what made it so great: fresh, hot donuts that people loved, and instead focused on global expansion and packaged products for grocery stores. The company became more interested in selling stale donuts at big box retailers than making sure the in-store experience stayed magical. The brand might have survived, and the numbers may look better on paper, but in reality, private equity stripped the soul out of Krispy Kreme, and customers noticed. Lines shrank. The hot now experience was no longer guaranteed. And while the chain exists today, it's a far cry from the iconic, beloved brand it once was. And on the subject of private equity, last week I posted a video here where I actually covered other restaurants that have just been crushed and totally fallen off after they were bought out by private equity. You all left some incredible comments, but these ones here specifically were my favorite. But my favorite comment goes to Matt Owell. I thought it was really spot on because he really captures how private equity comes in and doesn't care about saving the brand. All they want to do is squeeze out profit. They couldn't care less about the customer experience. Another major problem with Krispy Kreme has been their partnerships with big retail brands like Target, Walmart, or on the other side of things with McDonald's. At first, these deals seem smart. Get the brand in front of more people, increase sales, and make Krispy Kreme a household name beyond their stores. But in reality, it backfired. Donuts sold at these retailers rarely taste fresh. The signature hot now experience, the reason people fell in love with Krispy Kreme in the first place, doesn't exist in a grocery store aisle or a fast food counter. Customers end up paying premium prices for donuts that are stale or mishandled. Even the McDonald's partnership, meant to bring Krispy Kreme donuts to fast food diners, failed. Limited rollouts, inconsistent supply, and quality complaints meant the brand's reputation took another hit. Instead of building loyalty, these partnerships diluted the Krispy Kreme experience. It makes it feel like a product sold anywhere rather than a treat worth seeking out. And also, even when customers want Krispy Kreme donuts, oftentimes they're not even in stock. Stores frequently run out, leaving customers disappointed and frustrated. Promotions, limited edition flavors, or seasonal specials often sell out almost immediately. Not because they're in high demand, but because the company can't reliably supply them. That constant shortage makes the brand feel unreliable. A donut shop without donuts is pretty damaging to the loyalty. So, customers decided to go somewhere else, to competitors who actually had consistency. For a brand built on the promise of fresh, hot donuts ready when you want them, these supply problems strike at the very heart of what made Krispy Kreme special. And while scarcity can sometimes create hype, in Krispy Kreme's case, it's clearly a symptom of poor management and not a clever marketing scheme. But I want to hear what you think. My favorite part about making content is getting to hear your experiences. Have you noticed the price hikes, the empty shelves? Are you still happy and satisfied and your Krispy Kreme is great? Leave a comment with your thoughts below and I will feature my favorite ones in next week's video. And also, Krispy Kreme isn't just struggling because of internal problems. Dunkin' Donuts offer cheaper, more accessible options with a reliable coffee and donut combo that keeps customers coming back. Local donut shops are capturing attention with fresher, craft-style products that look great on social media, drawing younger audiences who want both quality and experience. Even grocery store bakeries are competing. They offer a good enough alternative at a fraction of Krispy Kreme's price. With so many alternatives, Krispy Kreme is stuck in a dangerous middle ground, too expensive for the budget-minded and too ordinary for the premium crowd. Once an undisputed leader in the donut world, Krispy Kreme now faces challenges on all sides, and it hasn't found a way to defend its throne. Fast forward to now, and Krispy Kreme is a very different brand than what it was at its peak. The company has expanded globally and even returned to the stock market with a second IPO in 2021. On paper, it looks like a comeback, but in the US, many of the old problems persist. Prices are higher than ever, supply remains inconsistent, and the hot now experience isn't guaranteed at every store. Yes, Krispy Kreme survives, but it no longer dominates the conversation like it used to. The brand exists, but the magic is fading, and it faces a constant battle to stay relevant against younger, nimbler competitors. So, can Krispy Kreme make a comeback? I'm not sure. Only time will tell. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.